How many times have you been asked about George Pickens today? Because we're going to ask you again. Where are
Who?
we? I know. Where are we on George Pickens, a long-term
Put the
deal?
sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly. You
Next
know how to look
question.
me in the
Next
eye after
question.
this.
I tell you what, it's going to play out the way it plays out.
Yeah.
GP was amazing last year. I really didn't know what we were going to get, and when I got him, I just fell in love with him. The very first meeting, we I have a basketball hoop in my office, and I beat him. We played a little bit of best
Nice.
of three. Yeah, I beat him. He'll probably deny that, but from that point on, I just knew he just loves football, and he makes us better. And it'll play out how it plays out, but we expect him to be a Cowboy for a long time.
Last year around this time, it was Micah's contract, and it dragged on. And obviously now we're in a new offseason, and you guys bring in Rashawn Gary.
All right, I'll be honest. I really like Schottenheimer. It's kind of crazy that he really was never given an opportunity to coach until now, and when he first got hired. Everybody was like, man, there's no reason for this man to be hired. This is a joke. This is a disaster. I think he did a great job with the team as a whole. I think he did a great job with the offense, especially. Obviously, the defense was a mess, but I'm not putting that on his shoulders. I think the way how he handles the media, and I didn't even love everything he said, because at first when he first was addressing the team and some of the stuff he was talking about, I was just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is weird. And although I said that the Cowboys wouldn't be terrible, I mean, you figure out if you thought they were terrible last year or not, but I said especially the offense will be legit, but he exceeded even my expectations. And he continues to do so. But it is interesting because the whole thing with George Pickens, and him saying I expect him to be a Dallas Cowboy, for a long time. I mean, this is where I just continue to get a little confused by the timeline of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's just they have the draft capital this year. They have the number 12 and number 20 picks in first round of 2026 draft. It's just really, really interesting to me because you're in the heart of the peak that you have right now with at least your two wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and that really does come and go quite quickly. And you're at the tail end of the prime of Dak Prescott. And I've been on this so much because the Cowboys are just at this critical point. And when you look at what the Los Angeles Rams did, they gave up their draft cap. They were like, give us players right now who are ready to win right now. And they took these swings. You could even see the Denver Broncos doing a similar thing. Not as aggressively as the Rams, but they did it, with Jalen Waddle, etc. And I do find myself in a situation where I'm just like, why won't the Dallas Cowboys do something like this to make sure that your team is truly at its best? Not that they're going in the right direction, not that their defense is getting better, but that they are legitimately the best version that they can be right now. That's what those other teams do. It's what the Eagles did in 22. It's what the Rams just did now. It's what they did in 21 and 26. It's what the Broncos are doing. Like they set it up where they're like, we are making moves to make sure that we are the best version of ourselves right now. And this is where I find the Dallas Cowboys constantly caught between two worlds. And on one side, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with doing the off-season how they're doing it right now. But at the same time, you're still placing a value bet there. Essentially in 2027, 2028, that's when we'll be the best version of ourselves. But now you are dealing with an older CeeDee Lamb. You are dealing with an older George Pickens. You are dealing with an older Dak. And I'm not saying that those guys are now going to be like old men with canes now. But we know what you have right now. We saw it. We see it. You see that production. Everything is kind of locked in there. So that's where I find myself just like why you have essentially the maximal information that you have right now. You don't have that in a couple years because you don't know what a couple years brings. You simply do not know. So, I really think since everyone's always trying to figure out what the master formula is to be great, to be special, to finally get over the hump, to do this, to do that, when it's time to go all in, when it's time to spend money in free agency versus the draft and this, that I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at least one side of the ball or coaching or quarterback play, when you look at your team as a whole and you can make a pretty big circle, and say, we got this figured out. This we are rolling. We got this. And if we can just take care of just a little bit of the rest, we are a bona fide elite top contender. We are a bona fide, no doubt about it, Super Bowl caliber team. The rest is just up to us to just execute when we need to. But we got it. When you can do that, when you can make that big circle, it's like then there's no messing around. There's no messing around. There's no value bets in the draft or there's none of that. Just make the moves. Just make the moves. And again, we've seen all these teams do it over the years, and it either leads them to be Super Bowl contenders and win the Super Bowl, or it just clearly puts them in that position. Like we'll have to wait and see what happens with a team like the Los Angeles Rams or the Denver Broncos or whatnot, as they're the most recent teams that have made, strong moves, I suppose. But we know the New England Patriots, for instance, like they want A.J. Brown. They want A.J. Brown. That is no, they want to take that swing. The Eagles took the swing and got A.J. Brown, got Saquon. Like those are the things. And so I do simply look at the Dallas Cowboys. I can't not look at it through that lens where I'm just like, you seemingly have the right coach, you have the quarterback, you have the offense, you have the pieces, and now you do have awesome draft capital. And listen, I never want to part ways with draft capital because I am very much like, oh, the mystery box. Like, I don't know, what can you get the number 12 pick? Like, what can you get with that? Like, I'm always like, I don't know, man. It could be the next Hall of Fame. Great. Like, it could be everything. Why? Oh, It's literally like that, family, guys. It's like, you could be a boat or the mystery box. And it could, the mystery box could even be a boat, right? And it's just like, oh my gosh, it can be. I'll take the mystery box. And it's like, let's do it. So, like I am always a sucker for that. But that's why I'm not a Jim. That's why I'm not running the team. And so I do look at the Cowboys where you're just like, you have something locked and loaded right now. You have it. You have it locked and loaded. What are the moves that you can make to truly reinforce your ability to not only be an actual contender, but not the pretending in seasons back, the one where it's like, no, you are legitimately bona fide. And then we find ourselves they're not in that situation again. You're potentially now going to be relying heavily on number 12 and number 20 to make up a big burden of your team going into 2026. And it's like it's certainly a gamble. It's certainly a risk. And if it works out and it's fantastic. If not, you're just like, size, we're in the exact same place we've been in for the last 10 years. And that's just how I continue to see it with the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, even if number 12 and number 20 hit, the true production really doesn't begin until 27-28. And then at that point, I'm like, are you 100% positive that this offense is just as great as it is right now? You're 100% positive. You're 100% positive. I don't know. There's no guarantees in that. Go ask the Chiefs. Go ask the Eagles. Go ask the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals. Go ask every single team that's ever done anything in the NFL. Go ask them. Also, Dak Prescott averages a legitimate injury once every couple of years. And now he's only getting older. So, it's just I can't escape that mindset. I really can't. I can't view the Cowboys in any other lens at this point. And when I listen to Schottenheimer talk and I realize what they have going, I'm like, man, they have so much going for them. And even see Cowboys number 12, number 20. And I'm like, man, that is legit damage you can do right there. I'm like, what are you gonna do with it? So, I don't know. I think about it. Mina said this about the Eagles and it was about the A.J. Brown trade and she was like, it's a lot harder. It's a lot trickier for the Eagles because they have a legit team and so when you're trying to figure out what you do with A.J. Brown in terms of, trading him and, how hardball do you play, etc., etc. It's just like there's more at stake because you are a legitimate contender, which I know Cowboys might not believe, but they are. And it's true. And so that's why I look at it with the Cowboys where it's just like you're not the Tennessee Titans right now. You're not the Las Vegas Raiders, the Miami Dolphins. You're not like that's not the situation that you're in right now where you're like, oh, you know what? It'd be cool. Having this draft capital is awesome. We're going to peg. We're going to take our time, develop, figure this stuff out, blah 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 blah. Like that's not where you're at. And you got to start feeling a ticking clock for Dak Prescott. You got to start feeling that ticking clock. And I don't feel that. I don't even feel that from the fans actually. And I don't know why. I really don't. So, and honestly, when I hear Sean Hammer talk, it makes me reinforce my belief even more because I actually really do believe what they can do right now. I really do believe that. I believe what they can do right now. So, take that swing. Have the Cowboys ever taken a swing really like that when you think about it within the last 10, 15 years or so? Have they really made any of the big moves that we've seen the Chiefs do, the Rams do, the Eagles do, the 49ers do? Have we ever really seen the Cowboys do that? And people would say well they traded Micah. They did not want to trade Micah. He did not want to trade Micah. That's the most obvious you can't even debate it. It's not like we can no he did not want to trade Micah. He did not. We know that. So what's the decision? What are the moves? And I'm sorry it's not just simply drafting number 12 and number 20. I don't see it that way. So, but though. SE are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think they're doing enough? Do you think I'm putting this timeline on them, this condensed timeline on them unfairly? Do you think it makes sense considering what they've achieved these last couple of years and what they could do? The last thing I'll say is for me, I look at a team like the Dallas Cowboys that literally didn't even make the playoffs and yet if they were smart and actually had a plan, they could have been contenders, legitimate contenders. They could have been, especially if you're going to tell me that Dak's great and Sean's great and CD and P and all that. It's just you could have been there. People were even convincing themselves if this team makes the playoffs, they're the most dangerous team in the NFC. That is literally what people said. It's what Nick said. It's what Collins said. It's what all of ESPN was saying on Get Up. That was the belief that they started to have. And I believe that there was probably a semblance of that. I think there's a semblance of truth there. And if you just made the right decisions, it would have been true rather than it could have been true. That's why I look at things like this and I'm just what's the plan to turn this into reality? And quite frankly it's almost always taking concrete big swings. It's not oh no, they mad. A good value bet. Well, they made a nice little trade here and no, they're bolstering things up a little bit here and there. That's typically not what it takes. When you do that, you get the 22 Cowboys, the 23 Cowboys, the 24. Yeah, you get the calories that you've gotten. If you do what you've always done, then you will get what you always got. Preliminary thoughts. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get to some discussions. Let's get to some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. We want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.